Damn, that song never gets old. Love that shit. How we doing, everybody? We are on fire behind the stage already tonight. We just get going and on fire already because everybody got to be on their P's and Q's. The boss man is here with us. Connor, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. It's good to be back on.
Absolutely good to have you as always, and joining us up underneath him. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Screw Bret Hart. That is the greatest Canadian wrestler of all time, the one and only Paul Rogers. Paul, how you doing, brother?
I'm trying my best. I'm incredibly sore. Training just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, wait till you get older and older. You're going to need some more Ben Gay. And after a week layoff and some car trouble trying to find his way back to the computer, we got the man, the myth, the legend, the older brother of WWE superstar Otis, DJ Meaty, Steve Linkus. How you doing, brother?
Caterpillar in the house.
You know what? My wedding is under 60 days. There's going to be some Jaeger flying and some Bushmills flying. And if I can get him to do the Caterpillar, y'all will see that video. I promise you.
If this lens was big enough.
Well, we go get right into it. What we were just talking about. We were talking about behind the scenes before we came on the air. The announced deal of WWE and ESPN. So go ahead, Paul. Kick us off, man. What do you think about all that?
All the pressure on me. Well, okay, so I'm going to say personally it doesn't affect me much. But from what I can tell, a lot of people that are big fans of WWE are scratching their chins and going, this is a big shift in their structure, how we're watching them, how we're paying for it. Some people are a little bit, let's say, on the fence about continuing to watch. So I'm not a big fan of WWE which way or another. I think if they do, I will say, okay, starting saying that, if they get presented, like what I was saying before, if ESPN puts them on the level of the NFL and the Olympics, like if those things are next to professional wrestling, that's going to rise all ships. You know, rising tide lifts all ships, I think is the expression. I think it does nothing to help professional wrestling. Because look at what happens around WrestleMania. There's a big boom. You know what I mean? I think it could be a great thing if it pays off. We can dive into some of what people might call the negatives of what they view as the negatives of the situation.
What about you, Connor? What do you think, man?
I think it's a bold move to make because if you're a big WWE fan, you're already paying for Netflix. You got to pay for, if you watch SmackDown or NXT, you're either paying for cable or YouTube TV, or maybe you're watching it on a site. Now you're going to have to pay $28 a month for pay-per-views now. It costs a lot to be a fan these days. I personally wish it was. I miss the WWE networks where everything was a similar place. But I see what they're doing. They're trying to get it. They're trying to get WWE on as many eyeballs as possible, and putting it on ESPN, I guess, would do that. Kind of like going to Netflix. But it could backfire on them because I feel like WWE in a lot of ways are trying to price out a lot of their fans now, like with ticket prices, and I feel like that they don't want, like they only want a certain type of fan to be at their shows now. Kind of like at a restaurant, they only want a certain type of customer. Hopefully it works well for them, but I'm not really too thrilled about it.
Meaty, you gonna be paying $29.95 for that app when it rolls around?
I kind of doubt it. You know, Connor said a very smart thing with the WWE network. I miss that. You know, I miss not just having, you want to watch wrestling, you got the WWE network. Look what you got now. I mean, everything on TV, you know, you've got the NFL network. They show NFL games. You've got a tennis network. They show tennis matches. You got a golf network.
Subscription fatigue.
Yeah, and you had the WWE network, which is very reasonable, and you could watch, you know, open views or whatever. And now, you know, in going to WrestleMania 40 in Philly, to piggyback what Connor was saying about, I want to say that WWE's getting a little big for the britches, but for lack of better terms, that's the best way I can put it. You know, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 front row ticket or whatever. I mean, that's just, I don't have a word to describe that.
Well, for 25, you could have a meet and greet with Cena too.
Yeah, I mean that's just, I mean you're talking about astronomical amounts of money that these people are raising, trying to, they're taking their kids' college fund or more, whatever.
Well, they have 2-day events now, so that's going to be even more money.
Yeah. I mean, and then when you go to places for, like I say, when I went to Philly, what it cost, not only for your ticket, your food, your drinks, everything else, whatever. And it kind of seems like that they're leaning towards, all right, we just want the, upper echelon, to be able to come and see this. And now we're going to put it. Yes. And, I understand the concept of how WWE is big like this. And they're, they pushed out WCW, and, if AEW could get something half-ass right, but, they can't compete with that stuff. But, they're just getting, like you said, they're going to price themselves out. They're going to run people off, and people are going to find a way. The way technology and the way everything is nowadays, people will find a way to watch a pay-per-view event without having to pay that. Simple as that.
Well, I'll get into that in just a second, because if I don't say this now, I'll forget. And we'll come back to it in a minute. One of y'all remind me, because y'all may know something more than I do here on this. But the big thing is with AEW that I've heard this week is that with the Jon Moxley lawsuit, the judge wanted them to disclose who the ownership group of, and I forgot the name of the group that actually the company that Tony Khan formed that owns AEW, but they don't want to disclose it. So I mean, I'm a little curious as to who might be on that's causing him not to want to disclose that group. But I digress. We'll go back. For me, the deal is, I don't know. It's kind of 50-50 for me, because, again, I don't know if I'll get it or not. I'm not going to definitely say no. I'm not going to definitely say yes. The switching for me, the two big ones we mentioned, that Connor mentioned, was Netflix and YouTube TV, and I already had both. I did not have Peacock when the WWE Network went away, but when it went away, it was not, I was paying $9.99 a month for WWE Network. So I just took that $9.99 and moved it right to Peacock. No big deal. The thing I'll say about it, yes, it's going to price some fans out, but on the flip side of it, you're going to have fans that buy this, not WWE fans per se, but you're going to have sports fans that buy this app, depending on what they're putting on it, whether that's where they put the football games or what have you. And if they're flipping through the TV trying to find something to watch, and they go to that app, let's see what sports is on, and they go to that app, and there's a pay-per-view on it. It has the ability to get more eyes on the product. And for $1.6 billion, I mean, I'm sure that's more than Universal offered them. So NBC Universal offered them. So, I mean, the only thing I'll say about it is everybody's just crapping on Triple H all day long. It's like, he's the one that's got to go around and do the press conferences. That is not his, that is out of his realm. That's above his pay grade per se. He's the one writing the stuff down and doing the content that we watch on TV. He's not getting paid to make those behind the scenes decisions. That's Nick Khan, Ariamani, and all those other people that are way above Triple H. And I get Triple H is high up in the company, but those are not his decisions. He's the face that has to go around and do.
Well, he's the Eric Bischoff, right? Eric Bischoff still had to go to Turner Broadcasting, and and he was told what to do. So I totally sympathize with what you're saying, and Triple H.
And the 2-day events, also I'll compare that to go back into the not infancy, but when pay-per-view was becoming more and more popular. Bischoff actually said this. He's like, but WWE had 4. So we had 4. He goes, they went to 6. We went to 6. He goes, they went to 7. We went to 7. And he's like, I got to thinking about it. Well, 4 worked. 5 worked better. 6 worked even better. 7, hell, I'll do 12. One a month. And that's where that was born. And, everybody kept going. And as long as people are, selling out, getting close to selling out tickets for those 2-day events. I mean, hell, we might wind up with 12 2-day events depending on what they're doing. I mean, so,
let's not encourage it, okay?
It would not surprise me that your Royal Rumble will be the next 2-day event.
That should have been the second one instead of
women's.
in my opinion. But so like I said, it's a double-edged sword to me. It's one of the things you got to sit back and wait. And I don't know. I mean, 1.6 billion, they're getting their money either way. They, whether it works for them or not, they're getting paid. So, Disney's the one that took all the risk on this one. I mean, I don't know how ironclad the contract is if they want to drop them if it's not pulling in what they need it to. But the last time that ESPN made this kind of huge money deal was when they signed Pat McAfee, and they released like 10 to 15 different talents just to pay that bill. So I don't know. We'll see.
You mentioned Disney and ESPN. There's a lot of people out there too that have got bad feelings and bad taste in their mouth concerning Disney projects, Disney things, ESPN things. A lot of people do not like them.
Yeah, I've heard that Mouse is really an asshole, but it's just. But let's move on. Did you guys watch SummerSlam?
I did. I watched.
Oh yeah.
I said when Punk and Cena was doing their thing that I thought that would probably be the best thing he did through his entire run. The mic work was better, than he did with Cody. He cut that amazing promo on Friday night where he just dropped the whole heel gimmick and went back to John Cena. And I've never been a big fan of Cena in his matches. I've always thought how charismatic he was and the 5 moves of doom. But that was one hell of a match Sunday night, man. I'll give it up to him. That was the storyline, the back and forth with the two of them, and God forbid that I ever said Cena would be up for match of the year, but that's gonna be up there, man. In my opinion, that's gonna be up there with some of these other ones we've seen all year long. To me,
by far. I mean, he went 45 minutes. And with that swerve that he did, you could actually hear the booing for Cody over the cheering for Cena. I mean, it just was, the stuff they did in the ring, outside the ring, that was by far the best match. Because, Cena, let's just face it, Cena can't wrestle. He's not a great wrestler. He's got those, like you said, 5 moves of doom. But I was just watching it and I was like, okay, it's over. Kick out. How many closing moves did each one of them hit on each other? 4 or 5, and they kicked out all of them, I think.
Yeah, except when Cody did the salute and gave him that one last crossroads. But I was 50-50 for last week, Paul, because I told you that I thought we'd get heel Cody and he'd win. He won, but we didn't get heel Cody, even though they were booing the crap out of him and Cena was getting cheered. But we did get the Punk victory and the Seth Rollins cash in, which I thought Stevie Wonder could have saw that one coming. But Connor is the manager of CM Punk now that me and Heyman's gone. How'd that work out for you? What'd you think?
I seen it coming. I did not believe Rollins was not. I never believed that he was injured. I believe that they did that on purpose to make people. Like, they played it well because some people thought he actually was injured, and people on social media was having temper tantrums and hissy fits that Punk lost. But Punk and Gunther had a good match, I thought. I was on here live reaction with makeups. And I wasn't going to get too happy when Punk won because I just had a feeling Rollins was going to come out. And then Braun Breaker and Bronson would be behind him, then they win the belt from him. But I've seen it coming. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with it because on Monday, looks like we might get a Rollins, Punk, and LA Knight triple threat match. Since Punk kind of costed LA Knight on Monday, his title shot. Yeah, I wasn't really too disappointed with it because I've seen it coming. I did not think that he was injured because if he was, I feel like they would have put the money to the bank on somebody else instead of just wait as long as they did.
Yeah, he when he came out, the match Saturday night's main event when it happened, I think what he did so well that had people talking was the fact that he sat down, he was talking to the doctor, he was talking to Heyman, talking to the referee, and the referee went to do something, and before he got up to do it, he said something to him real quick that he got up, took the BFT, took the 1, 2, 3 to make it look like he was at least, trying to give the fans a finish for the match and then get help to the back. I thought that's where he played it off probably the best. But then, we never got, Seth went for an MRI. He's going to miss 6 to 8 months, like you see with, like when Charlotte Flair tore her ACL last time, how long anytime somebody gets injured, they give you a time frame. The doctor said this. We never got any of that with Seth. The only thing we heard was, well, he's backstage on a crutch and a leg brace because he's there with Becky tonight. That's really all we heard with Seth. And I'm like, yeah, he's not hurt. But I will say for that Punk Gunther match, I'd heard going into that a couple of days before the match that Gunther was actually hurt with some kind of septum injury, and he was going to have surgery after the match, after that. And, when he went through that table and came up bleeding, that was he sold all that really well to because he knew he was going to have surgery and be out for a little bit. So my hat's off to Gunther for the way he sold that one.
I liked how in that match also, it seemed like that Punk let Gunther walk all over him. Like Gunther got probably 90% of the offense in that entire match. So they really made Gunther look strong, even though he was going to lose the title. But yeah, is that the first time that Gunther has bled on the main roster? I don't think he's ever bled on the main roster before.
And that's the first time I remember seeing it. But I remember seeing it.
Yeah, you guys are confusing me. They can bleed now in WWE, or they didn't zoom out all the way or blur it, or
no, they've been doing it on pay-per-view since TKO bought it.
Oh,
yeah, Cody's bled a little bit. Kevin Owens.
Well, I guess you could say it's the same rating as MMA, and MMA they bleed all the time. So
yeah,
it seems so foreign to me, though. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I was glad that Naomi kept the women's title. I thought it was too early to take it off her if you want to make her a legit competitor and not glow. The tag team match was a car crash, as we expected it to be. Trying to think of what else happened. I'm wondering if Jade Cargill has either pissed somebody to back off, or they just have given up on that project because she laid down clean as a whistle, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring for a prettiest moonsault ever from Tiffy time. So when she pinned her clean, I was like, okay.
It's been said a lot that she's got a lot of heat backstage with. I heard that her and Bianca never got along. So, I mean, to me, she's not ready to be a champion. I feel like they should have just started her in NXT, to be honest.
So I have a little. I don't know if I have a little tea to spill. I don't know if I know. So apparently, she's married to a famous baseball player or something.
Yeah, he's retired already, but
so from what I know of Jade Cargill, I don't want to paint a picture of her, but she's not one of those like, oh, I grew up loving wrestling. She's very much like with the skills I have, I can use wrestling as an avenue to something else. And I think a lot of that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And she has what some would call FU money in a sense, because if you have, a baseball player husband, you're not really starving. So she might say, the WWE might say one thing, and she might say, nah.
I thought she was getting a pretty big push, I mean, I don't know if something happened, because for her to beat Asuka, I repeat, Asuka, to win the Queen of the Ring, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, if Asuka was facing half of the men's roster, I'd probably, in a shoot fight, I'd probably take Asuka.
Yeah, I mean, and so she beat her, and everybody's thinking like, well, how the hell did that happen? And then she does that, and the rest of them, getting back to Seth real quick, the one thing, not only the report that didn't come out, like Jason and I talked about before, what he mentioned about saying, hey, he's towards meniscus, towards bicep. But the other thing, too, the refs that are in the ring, when something happens like that, and I'm going to go ahead and give Connor his Punk props right now. The refs give the X to let everybody there know that there's an injury and you have to stop. Now, Seth sold the hell out of it. I guarantee. I mean, he was doing all that on walking in the back. He was talking to himself. He was cussing. I mean, he did sell the hell out of it. But, I mean, it was the writing on the wall. It was totally fake because none of the stuff that should have happened. And, the rest of it, the fight, I was a little I was a little disappointed in the Fatu solo match. I'm just kind of tired of seeing Jacob and Jimmy fight all them other Samoans. And Jason and I talked about this a few days ago. I mean, and I'll ask you guys, how over is freaking Dirty Dom right now?
Yeah,
I mean, good Lord. I mean, he is, I thought him and Finn were going to battle, but then suppose there are rumors of Finn going against Uncle Howdy or whatever, and Finn comes back as a demon, I saw. But, I mean, he is
Finn the demon,
AJ,
yeah.
and he is probably the most over guy right now.
Well, if anybody was watching that match, remembers, right, that finish was a throwback to how Eddie beat Kurt Angle. Because, Kurt Angle had the ankle lock on Eddie, but Eddie was selling the ankle. And when Angle was turning around with the referee, he was trying to untie his boot, and he finally got it untied enough. And, Angle went for the ankle lock again, and it came off. Eddie rolled him up, got the 1, 2, 3. That was the WrestleMania year that him and Benoit both won the titles. And so between the way AJ was dressed and a lot of the throwbacks they did for Eddie in that match, it was because they said, I don't know if you're listening, but that was 20 years ago that at SummerSlam where Ray and Eddie battled for the custody of Dominic on a custody of Dominic ladder match. So
when he drove out in that lowrider, I thought AJ was going to win anyway. But when he drove out on that lowrider and had his son sitting next to him, and then he had Eddie Guerrero's pants on.
Yep,
he had the same thing that Eddie Guerrero had on his pants, his tights. And I'm like, oh, AJ's going to be win the title. But I guess because AJ is contemplating retirement and he showed up on TNA.
Yeah, I mean, well, he came out Monday and told Dom he wanted the rematch, and I'll watch that match again. I don't, I could watch that one. But he quietly announced that was going to be his last SummerSlam. So I'm not sure how much longer we're getting AJ Styles, but he said that was going to be his last SummerSlam. So with all the headlines around it between Seth and the Money in the Bank cash in, the match that Cena and Cody had, and a couple other things that went on. But yeah, they talk about Finn with the Demon. The last time we saw the Demon was that match with Edge where they had to stop it for a minute and move the camera because he busted his head open as the Demon, and they had to throw a couple of staples at the top of his head real quick so he could finish the match. But that's the last time we saw the Demon. So,
I thought it was when the turnbuckle collapsed or something silly like that happened.
No, it was a Hell in a Cell match with Edge. Yeah. As after the Judgment Day had turned on Edge and kicked him out. So
that's a great character.
I can't remember the pay-per-view that they said some like dream cards they put out every now and then, and I've seen in 2 or 3 different ones where they've got Finn Balor the Demon against Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy. And it might have been a Hell in a Cell match if I can remember, but that was one that was fairly consistent. Don't know if that'll come to pass or not, but
I don't know. So SummerSlam, I mean, 2 nights. I'll be interested to see if coming January, if they will announce any time between now and then that the Royal Rumble will be 2 nights. I would not be shocked. To me, like I've said before, that would have been if I was going to take another pay-per-view to 2 nights other than Mania, that would have been the next one I did, simply because you got 2 Rumbles, you got 2 world titles, between women's world titles, the men's world titles, and then you got the IC and the US title, tag titles on both shows. I mean, it's very easy to do 2 nights with the Royal Rumble. So
they're not going to have a choice, because what you're having right now, and it goes back to what we started the show off with about, WWE getting too big. You've got talent. They brought Rusev over from AEW, and he's beating up my little brother Otis, whoop-de-doo. And he's having a feud with Sheamus, who's his best friend, and that's the best thing they can do.
When they came out Monday, I just looked I was doing something, but I looked up, I said, damn, we doing this again? Oh,
exactly.
Okay. All right.
They're burying stuff. Look at where's Austin Theory?
They took him off the main roster page for some odd reason, so I don't know what's going on there.
They've got so much of this talent, and the women alone between NXT and the WWE, and if you want to go ahead and bring over the Ring of Honor girls, the Jordana Grace and all the others and stuff, I mean, that's enough to almost have a 2-night pay-per-view right there. with all the talent they got on the women. But with these guys and stuff they're doing, they're burying so much of this talent, that they broke up the A-Town down or whatever the hell Grayson and all them are. And like Jason has said with the car crash with the, Shelley and Chris Sabin have been around a long time. They walk out to the ring, it's crickets. Johnny Wrestling and Ciampa could be champs. They walk out to the ring, it's crickets. The Street Profits, great athletes, especially Montez. Montez is very talented. Crickets. It's just sad to see what some of the talent has come to, and then where they're burying some of the other talent. You really want to put Orton with Jelly Roll to go against the top names like McIntyre and Logan Paul, although
Look,
that
man,
was good.
I
Roll sold the hell out of that.
As much as I shit on that match leading up to it, I'll give old Fat Boy his props. He did. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't Kurt Angle in the ring, but he did a lot. He did a lot better than what I expected him to do. So
no, he sold that daggone Logan Paul frog splash on the announce table. And as much as I hate to admit it, and I think Jason does too, I've never been a fan of Logan Paul. I don't particularly like him, but the boy is pretty good. I got to give him some props.
I don't mind admitting it. I don't like his character. But that's what he gets paid for. He's very good at what he does. And even Triple H has said it in a couple of interviews. He's like, people want to bitch about Logan Paul and Bad Bunny, coming in here and doing this. He goes, do it better than they do. He goes, because they're doing it better than half the roster right now. And he's not wrong.
I still think that Bad Bunny is probably the best. I don't really consider Logan Paul a celebrity anymore, really.
Not anymore. He's in.
But
I would agree on that one. He's been there too long to just be a part-timer or whatever you call it.
I think the only reason he still has that stigma is because he comes in and out so much. He's not there all the time. So
I did see a rumor report where his brother Jake, they may be trying to get Jake to sign up and even have a Logan and Jake kind of feud.
That would be interesting. But I still think that Bad Bunny is probably the best celebrity to get in the ring. Jelly Roll was good, but Bad Bunny.
Can I politely argue just because I feel like I should shout out one? Was it Stephen Amell from Arrow?
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
I wish somebody would pick up his show for at least a third season. I enjoyed it.
Guys, come on. WrestleMania 3. Hogan and Mr. T.
Oh, that was 1 and 2. 1 and 2. WrestleMania 3 was Andre, man. Come on.
I'm sorry.
I got one more, but it's a bit of a sillier one. So Snooki showed up for WrestleMania and everyone giggled, but she hit her marks. No one got hurt. The crowd popped. She probably sold some tickets. Fair enough.
Well, for everybody and this is, I know we're kind of into SummerSlam and the WWE ESPN deal, so we'll get off that in just a minute. But when they got the F out, as the T-shirt said all those years ago, and went with entertainment, that's what what Vince had wanted to do from day one since he took it over. He had a vision when he bought it from his dad, and a lot of people said if his dad knew what he was going to do with it, he would never sold it to him. But that was his vision. They went from the Federation to entertainment, and that's what's helped taking it global. These, for people that don't watch wrestling in certain parts of the world, they've heard of Logan Paul, because of YouTube. And Riley, I guess we were talking about it. I don't know if you were listening, but the tag team division has been great in SmackDown, but they just, as good as those tag teams are, just they come out and the matches are great, but they're getting no pop at all. They're getting nothing, no reaction. And what you were talking about Rusev a minute ago. He's trying, man. If you're watching those matches, he's bruting it up as much as he can.
Oh, they're great.
And the crowd just nothing. It's like, are everybody taking a piss break at one time? What are we doing here?
It's great. The big rumor was possibly Rusev going with Heyman and Seth. Rusev, maybe Austin Theory to join them all, but. They just
we got one more coming. I'm just not sure who it is yet. I thought it would be Austin Theory, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be Karrion Kross. But they're saying his contract's up this weekend. He's been offered another deal, but we shall see.
Yeah, I did see there was another deal offered. I don't know if he actually signed it, but that'd be a silly person to let go of.
I had saw something where he did re-sign with WWE. I don't know how truthful it was or factual it was, but I did see something where he did go ahead and sign.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
All right, let's move on here. Forbidden Door is coming up. What do you? All right, Paul. You said you got some opinions. Give them to me.
Okay. I will say that there's only a couple matches actually announced, but I will like. All right.
All right, I'll tell you
What the hell,
got.
man? This is supposed to be Forbidden Door.
I agree, but I'll tell you what we got. What we got so far.
Okay.
We got Okuchi defending against Swerve,
which will be great. I'm not hating on that.
Tony defending the AEW title against Athena.
Again, it's going to be great.
A 4-way match for the TBS title, which will include a CMLL and a Stardom representative, Alex Winder. They're all taking on Baldy for the TBS title.
To be determined is what, I'm seeing here.
And then the Hurt Syndicate will be defending against whoever wins that tournament they got. And Tanahashi will face the unnamed opponent as of yet. And let's see. What are they doing with the world title? It's not listed yet. So what are we probably getting with Hangman at Forbidden Door? Do we know yet?
Oh,
I haven't heard.
I believe, I don't know if they confirmed it, but on Dynamite, wasn't there a challenge, Darby Allin, to someone for Forbidden Door?
If it was, I missed it. I mean, I saw Mark Briscoe and MJF in the main event.
So I might have misinterpreted it, but from what I remember, Darby Allin came out and pretty much kidnapped poor Yuta Wheeler on TV.
Oh no, yeah,
And when they found him, it was like a note stuck to his head. So I don't know if he's challenging Yuta or if he's challenging Mox.
I would venture to say he's challenging Moxley. I do remember that now. I never pay a lot of attention when Yuta's on TV, so. They did that because that was what kicked it off. Moxley, my shit. Who do you take on? Who did
Mike Bailey?
Yeah.
Mike Bailey.
Dirk Diggler. How could I forget
Canadian?
Dirk Diggler.
Shoeless Mike Bailey.
But that's what we got. And I don't know if you guys have heard it. And I'm sorry, Paul. I get back to your opinions in a minute. I didn't start it now, but
it's okay.
Hey, apparently the Hurt Syndicate has some heat in the back with AEW. And it's all over from what I've read. And of course, it's like anything else. You don't know how much of it is true or not. But that, every time they suggest who they're going to lose the titles to, MVP just shoots it down. He's like, nope. And it's from what people are saying that they don't want to lose it to an FTR, the Young Bucks, or one of the established teams. They don't want to work with Mike Bailey anymore for some odd reason too. Don't know what that is, but that's what is being reported. And they said they want, when they drop the titles, they want to drop them to a team like the Outrunners or maybe Private Party if they get brought back. They want to elevate somebody. They don't want to just put them back on somebody that's had them, 2-3 times already. And apparently it's causing some issues in the back.
I said it on this podcast, before the Hurt Syndicate came to AEW, the MVP and AEW would have problems. Because just by listening to MVP and stuff, AEW is very indie-like sometimes. MVP has talked very against like Meltzer and people like that. I knew this would happen. I didn't know when, and I could see why they don't want to go against Bailey because they don't believe that someone like Bailey or Kevin Knight can beat the Hurt Syndicate. And realistically, they can't. And that's one of AEW's biggest problems with big guys is they just treat them like jobbers, like Brian Cage and Brody King. Like they always lose against these cruiserweights, which it makes them lose credibility.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time Lance Archer won a match.
Probably in 2000.
Probably in Japan. Let's be real.
But I could see them not wanting to lose the titles to just anybody. And I do think that they should drop them to a team that needs it because the Young Bucks or FTR doesn't need it. Like they've already had it like 2 or 3 times each probably. So dropping it back to Private Party, who had a terrible tag run.
We haven't seen them since they lost the titles. I mean,
they haven't been around.
Like
they lost the titles and have just disappeared.
Like they worked really, really hard when like they were there from day one. They won the titles. They didn't defend the titles much. And when they lost them in like 5 minutes. Like they basically just dog walked them. So giving the win back to Private Party would make sense and build them back up. And AEW really can't afford to lose a team like Private Party because, I mean, their tag division's really dead right now. AEW used to have a really good tag division when they first started, and now it's just a show of its former self, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, their tag division is horrible compared to like the WWE that's got good talent but gets crickets for pop. But
Yeah.
I'll throw this out there. How about a new tag team? If you like to get a pop, I think this would work since they've already started this little bit of ball rolling. Go find yourself, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
How about a little Edge and Christian tag team?
We're getting there because you must be reading my mind. I was getting ready to ask y'all what the hell y'all thought of that great concerto of Kip Sabian and Nick Wade on Christian Cage. Did y'all see that?
Yes, I think I did. Yeah.
It was at the top of the ramp, and that was so bad.
Yeah.
That was so bad that you could, you didn't have to slow it down to see how bad they missed him. And it's like, as soon as they did it, I'm like, and this is why you do that move on the ground, because the camera can protect it. You can hit the other side of the chair and look like you hit him in the head, and great for TV. Doing it that way, you got to do it, especially Christian, who missed years of the ring for concussion issues. And yes, you got to protect him, but I mean, come on, man, put him through a table.
That's horrible.
Put him through a table or something.
Do a different spot. Like, we all understand the concerto is the big move, and yeah. Just don't do it. If you can't do it safe, don't do it at all. That's it.
Well, this tomorrow night, I guess it's tomorrow night. No, not tomorrow night. Is Collision back on Saturday, or is it actually tonight? Is it back on Saturday this week?
I think it's on Saturday this week.
I think so.
But we're getting Adam Copeland versus Big Stoke. So like, what kind of swerve are we getting in that match? What are we getting there, man? It's like
Christian Cage going to run down and help him, maybe.
Well, I mean, that could be where. I mean, it wouldn't make sense right now, but if FTR gets in there and starts beating up on Copeland, and Christian could run out and make the save, but again, he hadn't had any problems with FTR. So, I mean, even they did stand in the ring and watch, kind of cheer on Nick Wayne at the last pay-per-view, but they hadn't really done anything to him. So I don't know, but we might, it could be as early as this Saturday to get a run in from Christian Cage to help old Adam Copeland out. So I don't know. Like I said, the only thing about Adam Copeland that really, doing this, I don't want Adam Copeland and Christian. I need some ENC, man. I need some ENC. And now, for the benefit of those of you with flash photography, that was some good shit.
We'll do CNC. No, Christian. No, they got to do Edge. Yeah,
you got to have Edge and Christian. It just is not.
It's like Team 3D. Like, you're almost there, but it's still not the same.
Well, I'll still call him Edge. Like, I never called him Cope or Adam Copeland. Like, I've always called him Edge. So to me, they've always been Edge and Christian. So.
Well, and the announcers actually say Cope. They don't say Adam. They say Cope. Well, here comes Cope. I'm like,
what? The thing you talk about Team 3D and the Hardys, they got that big shout out at SummerSlam this past weekend. But they're TNA's advertising Team 3D versus Hardys one last time. But you have a working relationship with the WWE, man. Why can't all you got to do is say, hey, we're using the Dudley name. They'd be like, okay, no problem. Everybody else using their NXT name when they go over there. So, if we're doing it one last time, give me the damn Dudley Boys. I don't want Team 3D.
Well, I understand that. I can also stand the other side where it's like, well, we were Team 3D for 12 years or something. I could see both sides, to be fair. You know what I mean?
Well, but as much as I'd like to see one last 3D, the Hardys had that ace in the hole of Vanguard 1. He can make all the difference in the world.
Well, they stopped to have a drone fight in the middle of the match.
Shit, the drone. Well, I mean, drone can probably move better than the four of them now. So, I mean, Devon's in great shape, but he did suffer a stroke a few years back. That's why he left his producer position. Bubba Ray's still in good shape, but we know the shape of Jeff Hardy, and Matt's almost as bad. He hadn't done as much as Jeff did, but I mean they've been wrestling that extreme style since they came in 25 years, 30 years ago.
Let's be realistic. Are we expecting them to go out there and put their body on the line?
Heck yeah. It's a TLC match.
I'm not.
Well,
like, I
that's
get it. You're going to see some bumps, but the other part of me is like, please don't die.
well,
You
that's
know what I mean?
and
Like,
I'm right there with you. It's that's why I'm not. If it was 15, 20 years ago, hell yeah, I'd be like this. This one's going to tear the house down. I don't want to see them ruin that. Tarnish that legacy of what we saw. What made them both famous back in those days.
but,
I
will say. Sorry, Connor, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think we'll see some table spots and ladder spots, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere like the WrestleMania TLC matches were. Like you might see Jeff Hardy do a swanton, somebody move and goes to the table. Like you might see some stuff like that, but I don't think it'll be nowhere near their past stuff. Which it doesn't need to be. Doesn't need to be like their past stuff because they're not in their 20s and 30s anymore.
Well, they need to be careful and have Jeff and Bubba take the brunt of whatever they're going to do, and have Jeff and Bubba do the extreme, the high off the top rope, the swanton, whatever. With Devon having a stroke, you can't take the chance. And Matt Hardy, you might as well put a 2x4 out there because that's how stiff Matt Hardy is.
Well, when he wasn't able to wrestle for a while, the reports were that, like, and I don't remember which two bones it was, but they said like a bone in his back and like in his hip had started to fuse together, and they had to go in there and do something. But that's why he had been moving so slow. So I don't know which one of the. I think Bubba by far is in a better shape of the four of them, but the rest of the three, I don't know who's worse than the other. So, all right, Paul, you had some opinions, so I'm gonna back off and you do your thing, brother.
We're going back to Forbidden Door. Is that what we're going to?
Your opinions. You go wherever you need to go, sir.
Oh, okay.
And I'll start you off with this. MJF is the new CMLL World Champion. Go ahead, have at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that I don't mind, but it's also an element of a greater issue where it's like we're looking at the Forbidden Door card, and I'm seeing some to be determined, which I do understand is we got a little bit of time, but it's like these are just AEW versus AEW versus AEW. Okay, there's a Ring of Honor versus AEW. A lot of people are like, "Where's the door?" Like. You have, I know New Japan isn't that popular here, but there's a lot of stars that are right there that you can bring in for a great match. And they're just kind of shrugging their shoulders. So a lot of people are getting kind of mad. You can hear, actually, if you listen to the New Japan commentary, the New Japan wrestlers on commentary are very vocal about, hey, why isn't there any New Japan wrestlers? Where's ELP? Where's Great Khan? So it's interesting hearing the perception of the show from each company, because AEW's like, oh, we're putting on the best show, and New Japan's like, New Japan, Tanahashi came up with the term Forbidden Door.
Yeah,
There's there's a little bit of frustration there. So I think there's a lot of fans that are like, look, if you want this event to feel like a big event, you got to step this up. You got to do better. You got to reach out. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say specific names that they should get because that's all subjective. But you can get a couple more, you get a couple Joshi girls and promote them. It says CMML to be determined. Promote it. You know what I mean? I'm a bit frustrated because I love Forbidden Door. I love New Japan. I love seeing these. I loved DC versus Marvel comics. Okay, I love this universe clashing stuff, and it's like you're breaking my balls right now. Is what you're doing. That's
just don't have the representation that they need to have to be able to have something. If you're gonna call it Forbidden Door, and
if you want prestige,
let's have some surprises like the WWE with Royal Rumble when they have surprises come out. Surprise people from the past, maybe another something, but it's just no representation. And that's just, that's the dullness of AEW.
Let's cool the brakes on that for a minute and look at it and play devil's advocate for a second. Why are there no big names for New Japan that, even if you're not a New Japan fan, but you're a wrestling fan, you'd be familiar with? Why are there none of those in New Japan? Oh, wait. Every time they came over here, Tony Khan fucking signed them to AEW. That's why.
That's what I was going to say.
And, you had Will Ospreay, you had Okuchi, You had the other golden lover. Some of the women. And I know I'm missing a few. I'm not trying to glaze over anybody, but I'm just trying to make a point. Every time a big star from New Japan came over, Tony get in her ear. Hey, man, when's your contract up? I'll give you a hand job and I'll give you this much money to come to my company.
Even to lean in on what you're saying for a bit, Kenny and the Bucks, were New Japan talent. Kenny was
they
champion.
were, but
Kenny,
I mean they are now.
I know that was a while ago, but I'm just leaning into what you're saying of like this is a pattern of guys that AJ Styles was okay. No, I'm not picking on AJ Styles, but it's like there's a pattern of people that go to Japan and get super over, and then they go, "I'm out of here," and they never give any love back to the promotion that kind of helped them out. You know what I mean? It's like, remember ECW? Were we all old enough for that? I feel a lot of people are very thankful to Paul Heyman, like Stone Cold, and people who were fired from a company. They went to ECW. They did some cool stuff. They got hired. That's what happens with New Japan. You get fired from AEW or WWE. You go to New Japan. You get a little bit of rep. And you go back. But yeah, there's no kind of love back. And yeah, I could definitely see New Japan being like, oh, we lost Okada. We lost Ospreay.
Jay White.
Jay White.
Well, I mean, and
from the ground Jay up. White, Jay White and Juice.
Takeshita.
Takeshita.
Sort of. I know he's in the G1 now, but he's there. He's here and there. But Takeshita's a good example of someone who's like, go here, work, go there, work. You know what I mean? Bounce around instead of like, hey, we're gonna drive a dump truck full of money up to your house.
And that's what.
Isn't Ospreay out with an injury?
Yeah,
I think right this second.
Yeah. He announced after the pay-per-view that the Dynamite right after the one 2 weeks after that he was going to be gone for a little while with a neck injury. So now is he actually injured or just taking time off? Who knows? I mean, but
yeah, because I never heard a time period, but I did hear that he was injured.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, for as good as he is, in the ring and. He's good on the mic, and this is not a. Please don't take this the wrong way, people, if you're listening. But to have the accent and to be foreign and to be as good on the mic as he is and get the reception he gets, a lot of foreign talent does not get that. And for him to stay in London and fly back and forth like that all the time because that's where he wants to live and that's where he wants his family to live, and then fly, sometimes maybe twice a week, depending on what he's doing. I mean, I know when he comes over on a Wednesday and they got a pay-per-view Sunday, he'll stay for those 4 or 5 days. But I mean, the schedule that man keeps and to stay in the shape he's in and to do the work in the ring he does. I mean, my hat's off. Much respect to Will Ospreay.
Bruv.
Very talented. I mean, that's why I didn't hear how long he'd be out for.
Well, like I said, I'm not sure if he's, nobody's kind of like the Seth injury. Nobody followed up on it. So you don't know if that's kind of where I was going with that, with the schedule he's been keeping. Maybe he just, he hit that Pat McAfee wall and said, I need a break, man.
But sometimes it's good to let people weave in and out, because if Ospreay disappears, we can focus on Swerve. We can focus on Mox. Let them do a story. Oh, Mox is hurt. Now Ospreay's back. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of weave guys in and out and give them a couple months off to heal. Like, I think that's a great idea.
It's like what they're doing with Roman now. Roman taking all those tsunamis because he's going to be gone doing that movie for a while. Because Cody, I think, is in it he doesn't have as big a part, but Roman's going to be busy doing that movie. So they have the injured angle from the tsunamis.
Someone else is doing that same thing, because Hiroki Goto in New Japan is playing E Honda. So he's also out injured.
Yes.
He got injured in his championship match to Zach. Now he's out. He's playing the E Honda, which is a great fit.
From now on, everybody that gets injured, we should call them. Yeah, they were Rollins.
But you go to this Forbidden pay-per-view, Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and this is just my opinion on it, Paul. I understand completely what you're saying on why it needs to be. I agree, Forbidden Door, and instead of just AEW talent versus AEW talent. However, AEW is not on Peacock to where you're paying for that to, you're watching 400 other things. You are paying $50, $55, whatever AEW's pay-per-views are. When the ones I get, I don't look, I just say, yeah, okay. And I get it. But, you're spending money directly on that. And if, even an AEW fan that's, you know, a hardcore fan, but they don't follow New Japan, if they don't know who these people are, they're like, yeah, I'm not watching this one. You know, it's not Mox versus Hangman for the title. It's not Swerve versus whoever. But I mean, also if I was a Ring of Honor shit, like New Japan star, and look over and see what they've not done with Jay White, see what they've not done with Takeshita. You know, I mean, they've done stuff with Ospreay and Okada. I mean, let's take the Bucks and Kenny. We know that's where they came from, but they were founding, you know, partners in AEW.
Well, Okada also got a really good deal, so I feel like we can put him above a couple of the other wrestlers.
Well, I mean, they all got, you know, from what I understand, they all got good deals, which is why, WWE was wanting some of them. And, you know, the report I saw on, let's just take Roosh, for example. They wanted Roosh when his contract was up. However, you know, they heard the number that Tony had offered him, and they weren't going to come close to it. They didn't even call it. But, you know, so good for the boys and girls making that money. I'm never going to shit on somebody for making their money, man. Make your money, take care of your family, put away for retirement. This, you know, because depending on how it works out for you, you might get I won't say Undertaker because that's really pushing it, but you know, you might get a career like the Miz that lasts 20, 25 years where you make great money and you kind of go back and forth between mid and main event, or you might be done in 3 or 4 years. You never know how the sport's going to work out for you. So I'm not mad at you if you make your money, but again, this goes back to me a money situation. If they did a true Forbidden Door and 3/4 of the matches, they only knew one person from the, you know, a lot of people might not get the pay-per-view.
Look, I totally get that, and I can respect that. My only polite retort would be, then ditch the gimmick.
No, I agree.
You know, I if you're gonna have a once a year special treat, because New Japan does it with CMML once a year. These guys come over for a tour, they have a bunch of laughs, and they go. But you know, this is just going to be this special time. We don't see them. So make it a smaller event. If you know what I mean? If you're not willing to pay for these massive stars, get smaller stars. Like, these are silly names, but you could get Jack Vaughn and Ben Bishop and you know what I mean? People who are like really hot on the indies, like people that, you know what I mean? And try to give them a bit more attention. And
you know, with the relationship it seems that Tony Khan has with let's just go with Tanahashi right now. Forbidden Door to me needs to be one of those pay-per-views that's got, you know, a 6-month build. And what I mean by that is, you know, you pick up the phone, you call Tanahashi, hey man, you know, around August, you know, who are you going to push really hard between now and August? Well, I'm going to do this guy, this girl. Okay. What I need you to do, I mean, if they want to come over and wrestle on my TV, great. If they don't, that's fine too. But we're going to build the Forbidden Door. So I need you to start sending me tapes of these people so I can, you know, I can start pushing these different stars and people on my TV know who they are. Mm-hmm. And then when you have that familiarity, it's like, you know, and if somebody wins the New Japan World title, you know, you make a big deal out of it on your TV, you know. We're starting Dynamite tonight with breaking news from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Ex-wrestler, you know, ex person won the beat, you know, whoever for the New Japan World title, or you know,
I always love this gimmick of This Week in Wrestling. You could take a small minute and go, "This is what happened on Ring of Honor. This is what happened on New Japan. We're just catching everyone up. Back to the show. We're just killing time between matches."
You could do that, and then you could mix some of it if they took some, you know, pointers from WWE, you could do that build up like you guys are talking about, and then throw something in WrestleMania, Randy Orton against who? All of a sudden, here's Joe Hendry. Nobody saw it come. You know, mix something like that in. Mix a something that nobody knows that they kept under hush. You know, nobody knew it was Hendry. Nobody knew Brock was coming back. They flew him back in and everything the other night. So when they keep that under wraps, mix that up with the breaking news of some of these other wrestlers, but then have an unknown. If it's a Forbidden Door, have an unknown, forbidden or unknown.
You know, if you go back to the early days, and this is I'm not talking about early NWA, I'm talking about early WCW after they bought it from Crockett. One of the things that they did really well, and I mean they did really well. Just go back and I don't care how many people were watching. But when Jushin Thunder Liger was coming over, man, they would do vignettes of his matches for 3 weeks in a row, sometimes longer, when they were building up to, like, him and Pillman wrestling for the cruiserweight title or something of that nature. When Pillman was first coming in, before he ever debuted, they vignette, and it wasn't like the old WWF vignettes where they showed the new person down at the bottom of the screen talking. These were actual matches, clips from different matches, and they did a fantastic job of making sure their audience, when Wrestler X debuted, their audience knew who they were, and they did a fantastic job.
He was brilliant at that.
And you go back to the early days of TNA with Mike Tenay and Don West. They when they knew somebody new was coming in, they did the same thing.
So, you want to know the worst part about all this? We're talking about this build, and it's like, oh, you'd have to do all this work.
It's not that much work.
Because, okay, this is the worst part. In New Japan right now, they're doing the G1 tournament. So quickly, it's a round robin heavyweight tournament. It's all singles matches. So why don't you send some of the junior heavyweights over so the little guys can wrestle the little guys, because AEW's got a lot of little guys, and you can have one of those matches. Do you guys remember in ECW when they would be like, oh, Shane Douglas versus Pitbull, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd be like, hey, we got 8 Japanese people that are going to come out here for 20 minutes and just fucking flip-de-doo nonstop. People loved it. So it's like, it's so convenient for them to do that right now. Just send 4 or 5 junior heavyweights, let them do their gimmicks, let them do their stuff. Because Ishii's, where do you think Ishii is? He's in AEW because he's not being used in the G1.
And I'll tell you,
all the pieces are there, but they just refuse to click them together.
And I'll tell you another thing that would work for that. And you might disagree, you might not. This is my opinion, what it is. But take the Young Bucks. They a lot of people over here, people in America either love them or hate them. There's really no in between with the Young Bucks. A lot of people don't like their style. However, if you wanted to do them a favor and the New Japan tag team a favor, you call Tanahashi and you say, okay, who do you have right now that if you still had the Bucks that you would put against, because they would have such an incredible match? Oh, I've got Bubba. All right, I need you to send them over here. We're all sending the Bucks over there. Maybe we'll let the Bucks beat them there, and then you send them over looking for revenge, because we're going to let the Bucks beat them this way, and then you send them over to me looking for their revenge, and they'll get their fall here. Yeah, but you let the Bucks have the match the Bucks like to have, and showcase it to the American audience.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Like, you bring the juniors over. I had 2 people just in mind as soon as you said that. You bring over Sho and Katamaru, and I think they would get over because Kanemaru is a very crafty heel. So I think the American audience would like. I think the American audience would like their cleverness and oh, he cheated, but he cheated in a really kind of fun and different ways. So it's come on, man, just put the pieces together and make wrestling, as good as we know it can be.
Make wrestling great. Oh, no, let me stop. So all we're trying to say is, to wrap that segment up, if you build it, they will come. All right, boss man, what do you want to talk about? Come on, man. Give it to me. What do you want to talk about, Connor?
On the spot, quick.
On the spot, Connor, on the spot.
Oh, you're talking to me.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about, Connor?
Are we talking about Steve? See. So we talked about a lot of good bit. What has happened during the week? Have we? I don't think we talked about Brock Lesnar, have we?
We glanced over it for a quick second.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar is back in the WWE. I'm curious to see what everyone thinks about Brock Lesnar back.
Not surprised, personally. My personal take on it, Vince would never. I'll just throw Jacob Fatu out there. Vince would not bring him in because of his criminal background, and that's kind of a funny way to say it, funny thing to say in its own right. But nor here nor there. But as soon as TKO took over, who comes in pretty quickly after? Jacob Fatu. If you know anything about or watch the UFC, Fighter X could be in jail for grand larceny, attempted murder, and whatever. But if he gets out and he's in shape, the following week, his ass is on pay-per-view. That's just the way they operate. If it's going to bring in money, whether it's controversial money or not, They're going to do it. And I mean, and I'll give you my opinion on Brock Lesnar. When his name came out, I have no doubt that Vince probably had that girl sending him messages and pictures and whatever. But my take on Brock Lesnar, and again, I could be way off.
Here. Whoa.
I could be way off, but just the way he presents himself with the country boy being out, not wanting to live by neighbors or anything like that, I can completely see, and I could be way off. This is just what the visual I got was when that girl was sending the pictures, was him sitting on his couch and picking up his phone and turning around and looking at Sable going, honey, look at this bullshit. I mean, that's the visual I got. I could be way off, but, I'm sure, Brock, from what I've heard, was one of Cena's wanted opponents for this last final tour. And, he's never really been brought into it the way Vince and John Laurinaitis were. His name was kind of glanced as somebody she sent pictures to because Vince asked her, and pictures and videos. It'll probably be one of those things we never know what he did or didn't do because she's going to get, it's a Vince thing. And, unless Brock was come out to have done something horribly wrong, I think we'd have found that out already. His name wasn't glancing. And, I like Brock Lesnar. I think he's good for the sport as long as he's not around too much. Come in, work for 6 months, take your WrestleMania break. And, he's done, the overalls and the cowboy hat and the bulldozer match with the ring with Roman was fantastic when he did, when he did the Beast in the Bank with the damn boom box and dancing way out of character for him. He's shown us a lot of different sides of him versus the guy that we just saw that was a animal that was going to come in and kill you for the first 15 years of his career. And, he's almost 50 years old, like the rest of them, like Cena. So, he's not going to be there every week. And, we'll see where it goes. That's my opinion.
It's a perfect match. If they're not going to have a Rock and Cena for Cena's retirement, and of course, all the big rumor out there was, Gunther, Cena and Gunther. I'm like, what? Why?
That's still the rumor. That's still the rumor for Saturday night's main event.
My opinion, that is the most ridiculous thing. Cena has no ties to Gunther whatsoever. There's Brock and Cena have a great, history about them. Personally, in my personal opinion, if he could do it, which he couldn't, I would love to see Cena end his career with the person he started with. As Chris Jericho would say, Kirk Angel. I would love to see a Kirk and Cena from when he started, but obviously Kirk can't. But Brock is perfect. Gunther is ridiculous. That would be stupid. I wouldn't even watch that match. I wouldn't even watch it.
Yeah,
it would be ridiculous.
Yeah, you would. A little bit of Bushmill, you'd be sitting right there.
That's true too. But Brock and Cena, because Brock's going to have his retirement match coming up probably in next year. This is Cena's heyday. He's going to let Cena ride his boat out, and then Brock's going to probably do the same thing next year.
Well, I think we're going to get Cena and Brock at Clash in Paris, and then I think you might get both of them on opposite teams for the War Games. Not sure about that yet, but I think we'll get the Brock and Cena match at Clash in Paris and see what happens from there.
If you had Cena and Brock in Boston at Cena's final match in Boston, where Cena's from up there, Brock and Cena, Lesnar and Cena, that will be sold out within 15 minutes of them announcing it.
My problem with that is, Cena needs to go out on his back just like everybody, just like Goldberg did. That's a time-honored tradition. And just like when Brock beat the Undertaker, he didn't need that rub. Brock doesn't need the rub of being the last one to beat John Cena either. That needs to go to somebody like a Gunther or, Austin Theory. It needs to go to a younger talent to put them over. But if you want to go back to when Undertaker lost to Brock at Mania, that's the spot that should have been given to Roman Reigns at the time of where he was in his career. There wasn't no tribal chief. They were trying to get him over. The crowd wasn't having it. And, Brock did not need that. Roman at the time did.
That was like when Brock agreed to lay down in that 3-minute match against Goldberg that Goldberg won. And Brock, agreed to that, which I thought was.
What Brock didn't agree to it. It was his idea.
Yeah. His idea and everything.
But, and I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. You're talking about Brock and Cena. But, let's say, Roman and Seth have a match. it wouldn't matter which one of them pinned the other one. It wouldn't at this point in their careers. However, if a Braun Breaker or a Bronson Reed were to pin Roman Reigns, that's going to elevate them way up here. And so, I don't know. Brock, like I said, Brock can beat him. I don't care if Brock beats him. He just does not need to be the last match of the last person to beat John Cena, in my opinion.
I don't think Gunther needs it to get over. Gunther's already over, and he's already. Triple H loves Gunther. Gunther can almost call some of his shots.
Well, for those of you that may not like Gunther, and I would never tell somebody to watch a damn Bill Goldberg match, but I mean, God bless Gunther for what he was able to pull out of his ass. Because that was, like I said, that was the best match I'd seen that man have since he wrestled DDP at Halloween Havoc in '99, I think it was.
I think, unfortunately, Walter, in the politics of WWE, probably has the most faith behind him. So if they're going to put that win on to anyone, we got to put it on someone who we know is not going to leave to AEW, who we know is not old and going to retire in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, we need that big person to give the torch to.
That's what they're doing with Braun Breaker now.
You know what's going to happen?
If they pick Braun, I'm totally fine.
You know what's going to happen after December? You can't see me.
Oh my God.
So I just thought of a controversial opinion. I don't know if you guys will tell me that I'm silly or for bonkers for thinking of this, but I thought, do you remember I'm Sorry, I Love You? Super kick.
Claire Michaels, absolutely.
I think that is bad for wrestling. I know it sounds controversial because it's like that was such a good moment and everybody loves it, but it's like Shawn beating Flair for that match didn't really elevate Shawn. You know what I mean? I know that wasn't the point of that match, but
I loved the match. I loved the match, and I loved being as it was the two of them, and given their relationship on screen and off screen, very public. I love the way they did it, but I agree it should have been somebody else to get that rub.
Let's say we're using the example of Braun Breaker. Okay, so if Brock beats Cena or Cena beats Brock, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Does that move anything in the landscape of WWE? If Braun wins, what if they give it to what if they give it to Tonga Loa?
I was gonna say Jacob Fatu.
But you pick one that you go, we know this person's gonna be around for a little while. We can put some trust in them. This person's gonna be the star in 15 years. Like you know what I mean? That's an observation people say about WWE is a lot of their talents aging out and they're not sort of committing on the up and up.
If I had my pick, if we're going to go there to do it to get somebody over, for me, it'd be Karrion Kross.
I was going to say Grande Americano, but we can agree to disagree.
You have to bring up Chad Gable. Good.
Why would Chad Gable pop into your mind when we're talking about a completely different wrestler?
Exactly.
I mean, we hadn't seen Gable on TV in 3 months.
Well, like, which Americano are you talking about? There's like a couple of them running around now.
That's the same guy, man.
No. Okay, look, you put on different makeup and all of a sudden your face looks different. It's the same for singlets, man. The one, he was wearing a smaller singlet, so his body looked bigger. The other one was wearing a bigger singlet, so his body looked smaller. I don't understand.
That's that new guy, Ludwig Gable. Ludwig Gable. That's that guy, Ludwig Gable. How about Cena versus Otis?
Yeah.
Speaking of Otis, where's your big brother? Where's your little brother Ben? I ain't seen him in a month of Sundays either.
He's trying to lose weight.
No, he's failing miserably.
Yeah.
See, if Chad Gable wasn't injured, he'd be the perfect person to. He's their version of Kurt Angle in this generation. In a lot of ways, he is. He's got the heel work, but God, he'd be perfect for like a singles title run or something. But every time he gets close, they don't want him to. See, Sammy should not have beaten Gunther at WrestleMania 40. It should have been.
Sammy shouldn't have beat Karrion Kross last week either, but that's a different story for a different day.
Sammy's always beating the people that he should not be beating. Like, Sammy didn't need to beat Gunther. Chad Gable had a perfect story. You guys remember, like, his kid?
His kids cried and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
That was the perfect story. Sami Zayn has to get the moment that he doesn't deserve. Well, not say he doesn't deserve it, but he doesn't need it. Like, he's already won the Intercontinental title. He's already won all these things.
And before we get completely off Cena, I tell you, if I was the one booking that show, because I know it's Boston, but whoever beat him in that final match, I would have them beat the ever loving holy hell out of him. And when the cameras went off, when the cameras went black, and you flashed to the local news from Saturday night's main event, him still laying in the ring with doctors checking on him. Let it, of course, when the cameras go off, you let him get up and say his byes to Boston, but kind of like you did Goldberg, you cut him off mid-sentence, but just let him beat the ever-loving dog shit out of him. Have him laid out before, as the camera goes off.
So this is something I always thought wrestling should do. When a character retires or a wrestler retires, I don't think they've ever once had a character die.
Mr. McMahon did, remember?
Yeah, but that was like he came back, and that was this, but it was like like El Generico is the closest I can think of where they said, oh, he went to an orphanage or something. But it's like there's never been a character where it's like their final match. I've always dreamed this in my head. You have a final match where it's like you fall into something and it explodes, and you have people go, oh my god, and you cut to black, and then there's just like this person, Grande Americano, has passed away. Chad Gable's fine for unrelated news, but
you can do that now because the entertainment purpose that nobody's going to take you seriously.
If you say the Undertaker died, people are going to go, sure.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought him up because I was. This is another reason I was aggravated that he lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and when he was 18, 19, and 0, whatever the hell it was, I said, okay, he's went this long. When he's ready to retire, this is how it needs to go. He comes out in WrestleMania. He's still undefeated. Whoever you want in that spot, whoever that you think needs it.
Should have been Bray, right? Should have been Bray Wyatt.
Right, I agree. Yes, right? It should have been Bray Wyatt.
I feel like that would have been the most logical thing. You have this whole skit where Undertaker gives him the Undertaker powers or something.
Well, like I said,
come on, it's right there.
I wasn't even thinking of that opponent yet because he was 18 or 19 though at this point. And I said then,
yes,
that when he is ready to retire, you keep him undefeated until he says, hey, I'm done. And then you let him come out and wrestle his opponent at WrestleMania. He gets beat. He does not raise up. He does not wave to the fans. You have the Druids come down, put him in the casket, roll his ass off. And then on Monday night, Mark Calloway comes out. Mark Calloway comes out on Monday night and says his goodbyes. That's the way I wanted the Undertaker to go out, but we see what's happened.
Yeah,
I would. The only thing I would add to that is I would say, do not film Mark Calloway coming out and giving a speech. Just end on the Undertaker die.
No,
give him a Hall of Fame speech or something, but leave it as it's like that old Avatar: The Last Airbender joke where they're like, "Did Jet just die?" Like, I guess he did.
Oh my God, you killed Kenny, you bastard.
And just roll with it. Why not? I think it would be so comical for like a spooky character. Like if Papa Shango died, would you really,
Well, no, he did die, but he was resurrected as Kama Mustafa. And then he actually passed away in a car wreck. But then a guy that came along that was related to him, he was like a fifth or sixth cousin, went by the Godfather. And yeah. All right, let's do this real quick. Today in pro wrestling history. Now, here you go. This one's for you, Paul. On this day, 32 years ago, Tatsumi the Dragon Fujinami won the 1993 G1 Climax Tournament. He went 5-2 in the round robin before defeating Kajimoto in the finals to capture his first and only G1 tournament. 13 years ago, Ricky Starks made his debut in WWE's Florida Championship Wrestling, the system that is now known as NXT. Let's see. Oh, here's an oldie but goodie. 43 years ago today, Iron Mike Sharp was on a tear in Mid-South Wrestling, beating everybody, but he's better known for being an enhancement talent on WWE TV. Canadian wrestler Mike Sharp. 24 years ago today on SmackDown, the WCW and WWF Tag Team Championship changed hands as Kane and The Undertaker defeated the Natural Born Thrillers, Sean O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo, and they unified the titles. That's because later that night they beat Paige and Canyon.
Who's better?
Canyon. 32 years ago this week on Wrestling Challenge, Lex Luger's call to action campaign was in full swing. 14 years ago today, this is meaties. Kirk Angel defeated Sting at Hardcore Justice to win the TNA World Championship. Oh, dear God, we're going way back now. 60 years ago today, Harley Race and Larry the Axe Hennig defeated Vern Gagne and the Crusher to become the AWA World Tag Team Champions.
That's a classic.
Put some respect on his name. 23 years ago tonight, Ron the Truth Killings became the NWA World Champion by defeating Ken Shamrock. Chris Statlander turns 30 today. Happy birthday, Chris. Happy 59th birthday to Christy Wolf, best known as Asia to WCW's fans. She was their answer to China. 49 years ago today, Bruno San Martino gaining some revenge on Stan Hansen for breaking his neck, defeating him in the steel cage match.
Jesus, we're going back now.
Oh, yeah. 30 years ago this week, Gorilla Monsoon was officially introduced as the president of the World Wrestling Federation, replacing longtime Canadian president Jack Tunney. 37 years ago today, the legendary Texas Outlaws rode again. Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes, for those of you might wondering. And that wraps up today in pro wrestling history. So before we get back to Paul, Connor, you got any final thoughts on anything we got coming up?
No. I know Mr. Jacob should be doing some stuff on the Wild World of Wrestling channel pretty soon. Tomorrow, probably, for SmackDown. But no, I hope to be on more. On the All Elite Zone, that is. Yeah,
we have fun, and we
we're trying to find some reasons for you to come on too.
And we're all over the place. We're chaotic, so we need our boss man to keep us in line. Make sure this runs smoothly. Media, you got any final thoughts on anything? I think we got coming up Collision tomorrow night, and the following week is the AAA pay-per-view, I believe, on YouTube channel. But
no, just having the hangover from SummerSlam, and now just seeing the fallout. Where they're gonna go with things, and the feuds they're trying to spin up, and the heel turns, and the injuries. And stuff, where they're going, what they're going to do with people. Because there's still a few things from SummerSlam left that I don't want to say leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, but you're kind of like, what was that? So it just is. You mentioned the Karrion Kross thing, the people that are kind of left hanging. I will say this, and we hadn't brought him up. I think we mentioned his name earlier. I really feel bad for LA Knight.
Yeah.
I mean, they did hide that Seth had that injury, and there was supposedly heat with some of the wrestlers because they did not. Some of the wrestlers legitimately thought he was hurt, and Seth did the thing, laid down. Even though the ref didn't give the X, like I said before, LA Knight pins him, 1, 2, 3, and
they handled that well because it was just out of the blue. They did that.
Yeah, and he's left out of SummerSlam.
All the attention's on Seth. Yeah, Seth won without winning, which is hard.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just WWE with a lot of the stuff that they do good. Boy, they can screw the pooch sometimes of people. I just hate to see that with some of the talent they have. Jason and I used to talk about this all the time. Of course, God rest his soul. To do what were they doing with Bray Wyatt? They could have done so much more with Bray Wyatt than they did. I mean, it could have been so much more, and then to continue it now with this Wyatt 6 thing is almost a joke. I'm sorry to say it's almost a joke what they're doing because they're just not doing. It
could have been a lot. I had high hopes for it at the beginning, but it's kind of turned into.
I did too.
It's sort of low. It's sort of like low budget horror. Like good horror is already campy enough as it is, right?
But I will tell you people will disagree. I don't care. My favorite thing right now on WWE TV is Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss.
I've heard good things about those.
Those two together. I've always liked Bliss, and like what you and I talked about Charlotte, how condescending she comes off, and she's just not a good baby face. They have great chemistry. They have good timing together. They look like they're actually, really enjoying this little run they're having, and it's just, I've just been fun to watch.
She gets more cheers now, tag team with Bliss, than she does when it's the singles.
And they had a moment on one of the interview things where Charlotte said the word friends.
Yeah.
And everyone went, whoa! And it's like,
that was
that's fun. Come
yeah,
on.
that was after the post thing they
And
did.
Bliss is like dancing in her seat because she's won. You know what I mean? Like, that's.
Yeah, like they're not doing the press conference after the show anymore. They're just basically hanging out outside like the college football game day and stuff like kind of like they were there for a while, but they've gone away from taking questions from reporters and going back to the fans. So, all right, Paul, promo us, man. What's on your mind?
Oh, no. That was it for the Forbidden Door. I don't know. I had a little bit of emotion to get out, but I might need to. I will say this: I have some work coming up in the next month, so when I have some more information, I will let you guys know. And who knows, I might even use this avenue to promote a couple matches that might be coming up my end. But it's a little unconfirmed just so far.
Well, we'll share whatever you got, man. As you send it our way, we'll get it going. But yeah, I never asked you, man. What is your finish?
Okay, so right now I'm to take a quote from Al Snow. I don't have a finish because I've never won a match. Hey,
well,
I've been studying a lot of submissions. I have 1 or 2 leg knee submissions that I'm really hoping on. I've been training the Robinson special. That's like a calf cutter. It's like a knee, just hammering home on the knee. That's my philosophy right now.
That's a fantastic answer. It's like with me, I'm the Kevin Nash. I got 4 moves and all 4 of them hurt.
When you figure out one and you set it and that's your finish, in the immortal words of the late Harley Race,
don't use the headbutt, kid.
I'll move. All right, what? And you got another game draft for us coming up.
Okay, so I know we're going long here, so I hope we can shotgun this. I thought, for Forbidden Door, since there's like a little bit of this could be better. I thought, what if we did an open door draft? Let's, for just the moment, say that all companies are going in, and what we can do is we can all kind of shotgun. We're going to each pick one person and just keep going. And the idea is the people that you pick next week, we can come back and you're going to make your Forbidden Door card out of the people that you got. I thought it might be a little bit silly, but who knows? We might get some good matches.
I'm still stuck on that match I told you I wanted to see last week. And that's AJ Styles versus Will Ospreay.
There's a lot of good matches there. So I thought, hey, everyone loves this stupid draft.
That would be phenomenal.
I thought since Connor's the owner, and Jason's the host, and Meaty's new, we could do this order. I have my Google sheet open right now. So maybe we can just spit out, we can each get 10 or 20 people, and we can see what we can do.
Well, we're not going to pick the order, man. We need to figure out like a wheel or something we can spin to determine the order.
I thought we could just keep it easy and
why be easy? We're here to have fun, to see who gets to go first, so they can just give the bird to the rest of it. I'm gonna get you who you wanted.
Do you have anybody have a wheel handy? We can.
Oh man, there's an app. There's an app on here somewhere we can figure out between.
If it's the last thing I do, I want to see one match against Mr. Jason B, #1 DJ of all time, Ingram, to get the bouncy from Stephanie Valkyrie.
Okay, I'm gonna do this as fast as I can. I didn't think we would need.
Devil kiss me anytime she wants. But have you seen Queen Aminata's version
of the bouncy?
Yeah.
No.
Chocolate kiss.
The chocolate kiss.
Oh my God.
She wraps her legs around your head and pulls it right into the crack of her ass. I'm like, I ain't opposed to that one either. I mean,
all right. I'm just
be like Nia Jax putting that big ass of her in the ring in the corner when she splashes you.
I done told you I'd tackle that big bitch before I would a lot of them. I'm gonna ride that mountain for at least 5 seconds.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot to ride.
I mean, look.
All right.
The next time we go to a match, we ain't going unless she's on the card, and I'm gonna hold up a sign that says "Nia, set on my face."
Are we gonna? Do I need to share my screen for this role, or is everybody gonna trust?
I mean, yeah, if you can share it, share it. If not, we trust you.
All right,
Because I'm sitting here talking about Nia Jax sitting on my face. So I'm either upsetting somebody or making them gross out.
Okay, it says I've shared it. Can you guys see
it? Is. I see it. All right.
Connor, Jason, Paul, and me. So here we go.
There it is.
So this will be the first person. Hey!
It's gonna be funny if it comes out the way you had it anyway.
Oh yeah, that it happens. All right, we delete that person and we spin.
Spin the wheel, make the deal.
Hey, this is how you feel live television, my friends. This is what we do. Okay. Hey!
Uh-oh. Ah!
Yeah! It changed everything. All right. Okay.
All right. We got that. We got that in order now. Connor, me, Paul, and then me. So we'll end on this. No more than one. Let's all take one, and then we're gonna call it a night. So Connor, who's your first round? Who's your first pick?
CM Punk.
So that leaves it to me. So
no, are we just picking a wrestler or a match?
No, wrestler.
Okay, we're picking a list of wrestlers, and then we're gonna make matches with who we get.
We're just taking our first pick tonight.
Yeah, so. One at a time, and
and then next week we'll go with the rest of them. So Connor's got CM Punk. So who do I want?
Oh, I like this. We're picking who the leader of our roster is gonna be, and then next week we can.
All right. And you know what? I will stay consistent. For the second draft in a row, I am taking Swerve Strickland, number 1.
Okay, I thought about this. I've been planning. This is going to go against character, but I have to do it. I have to have the jump on you. I am going to draft John Cena. I feel like it's just you got to aim for the top. Or meet who's going to be your team captain.
I got 2.
You only get 1 this week.
Let me flip a coin. Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker. There you go. That's a good one. All right. So we got CM Punk. We got Swerve. We can't see Paul's pick. And then Braun Breaker. So there you go. For next week, we will be back picking. How many we going to do? We're going to do 15 and 20. What we doing total?
Well, maybe next week we'll do 2 picks, and then we'll see how it goes.
Okay. So we'll do a couple more picks, be back with some more stuff. Maybe I think Danny was going to come on tonight, but, she's still out looking for Wardlow. So, maybe she'll find him. Maybe she'll get some help with him on the back of that milk box and see what happens. We never know. But for Paul, for Connor the Ball, Steve at Meaty Linkus is back with us. We appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, and I can